Social media has become one of the biggest and most all-encompassing industries in the world. It has the power to create social change, inspire change in perspective, and connect people from across the globe. The fact that one person can have more influence and reach a higher audience than some of the oldest and most iconic publications on Earth is such an interesting concept, so I decided I needed to meet the influencers behind these accounts. This is Influenced. Today we're going to be chatting with Jeremy and Adrian, the two guys that make up the Foodgays. They have around 60,000 followers on Instagram, including celebrities like Gwyneth Paltrow, and they've been featured on major sites like Vogue, Food 52, and the Huffington Post. So you guys have had so much success in the online world and outside of it, of course. If you haven't been there, what can people expect from the Foodgays?
I think if you've met us in person, you know that we have pretty big personalities, and I think our food does too. You know, we really sort of try to make things look inspirational, vibrant, colorful, you know, like you really want to eat it and make it at home. That's sort of the biggest thing for us, making it accessible and doable for people in their own kitchens.
So how did it all sort of transpire? Did the blog come first and then social media following? Because you guys have almost 60,000 followers on Instagram alone. What was the trajectory of it?
We kind of started the blog and social media around the same time. I think at the time Jeremy didn't know.
I didn't really know what Twitter was.
So we were very much new. We were very new to all of it, and like no preconceived notions, just started this little WordPress blog as a hobby, taking pictures with our phones. It was a natural, I guess, sort of evolution once we really started becoming more serious about our photography aspect.
Then things still actually started changing.
Yeah, and it kind of just like had a domino effect.
I guess online now you can look like when's the best time to post, but do you guys know and do you think about that when you're putting your posts on Instagram?
Yes and no.
Now, yeah,
you talk to I think anyone on Instagram, and there's been like a major sort of shift in the way content is being viewed now. I mean, because influencer marketing has taken off so much, Instagram wants a piece of that, right? So getting your content in front of people is harder than it ever was. A couple years ago when we were at, 10, 15,000 followers, we actually probably had a bigger reach than where we are now. Although our following is a lot bigger, there's drawbacks in terms of
Is it the algorithm and stuff?
exactly, like how
Yes,
that comes
the
into play.
algorithm.
And I mean, everybody is just trying to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the wild, wild west.
Do you guys have a lot of people that approach you to promote products or, stand behind products? Talk to me a little bit about that.
It's exciting for us to get to partner with quality brands, and we try to be really mindful of the fact that like we have an audience of people that are looking at our content and hoping that we're not going to just sell out to just anything. So we are very careful about like which partnerships we take. When you get into like the business side of things, when you're working on sponsored campaigns and what have you, it can be a little bit stressful just because you don't ever really know how content it will perform. I mean, through our experience working with different clients, everyone sort of requires something a little bit different. So we do try to negotiate, and depending on the scope of the campaign and the budget, there can be like a lot of different factors that come into play.
So do you think that this, in essence, is kind of saving companies money?
Traditional media, I think, will always cost more. I mean, until magazines are dead completely and we're not watching TV anymore, like I think that's always gonna be sort of top tier.
So let's talk about food a little bit, because obviously that is a big part of what you guys do, and all of your recipes look amazing. So how do you come up with everything? Is it all just the two of you kind of experimenting?
Yeah, a lot of the time it's like what we have in our fridge.
We love to cook seasonally, depending on the time of year or what we're inspired by.
And I noticed you guys have, what is it called when you have the fresh?
The urban cultivator.
The urban cultivator!
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
It waters itself, you can plant everything in there, and it gives the herbs, sunlight for 18 hours a day.
But yeah, microgreens and fresh herbs, so we're really lucky. We worked with them, they're a Canadian company.
So that was a... Oh my gosh, really? That's wild.
That was probably one of the coolest partnerships we've done, just because it's really like made us better cooks.
What are your thoughts on buying followers and buying likes and that whole thing? Because it kind of is a thing, right?
If you're purchasing likes, usually they're coming in within the first like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's sort of pushing that image on this trajectory, you know, now it's on the Explore feed, now more people are getting to see it, and it's not fair like that some people are choosing to, you know, cheat the system, because Instagram is very time-based, so it's like it's how fast your content can move within that first 60 minutes. So there is something within Instagram called Instapods, a sort of like community of like-minded users. The idea is every time one of the members puts up a new post, they share it with the
Group chat, right?
and then everybody goes and leaves a comment and likes it. So the idea is, again, to try and do it as fast as possible and generate that content.
Yeah.
So there's been some people that have questioned whether that's ethical, and for us, we think that that's super.
If it's in the right community and you're trying to, you know, have the right people involved, then why is it? It's still real people.
These are people that we'd already be commenting and liking.
Yeah.
It's the same as any industry.
It's like our own little clique.
A lot has transpired for you from, you know, having an online presence. You guys are going to be making a cookbook. Tell us about it, because I'm going to need one.
A lot of
testing and testing.
And eating.
Yeah, so we've been working on that pretty much for the last
since November of last year.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Your name, Foodgays, do you think that it draws an audience in just from being food gays? Like, do you think that you have kind of like a gay audience and then a foodie audience, or do you think it's just kind of everybody? Like, what do you think about that?
We thought it sounded cute and it kind of rolled off the tongue. It was memorable.
I was literally saying to him, I was like, what are we doing? Trying to do food. Who are we? Gays. So why don't we call ourselves the Foodgays?
People will often think we're that's a typo or we're saying it wrong. So we just gently reassure them that no, we're the Foodgays.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And there's not really much else to say about it.